Hey guys, welcome to my stream, welcome to my channel, welcome to part 4 or 5 or whatever it is, working on this guy here, the AH-6J little bird. This little bird, that's right, okay? Hey, hit it. Okay guys, well, we're back. This thing has been proving to me to be the one model that really wants me to be patient with. What do I mean by that is, well, it means things aren't fitting perfectly together, and so I have had to glue one little piece like this and then let that sit for, and really set. Normally I wait maybe a minute or two and I continue on, but this one is making me wait like a couple of hours and then come back to it once the glue is fully cured and done its thing. And that's what this kit is making me do. Yeah, yesterday I got one of the guns installed on it, which you can't really see because I'm wearing a black shirt and this thing's painted black. But trust me, there's a gun on the bottom of this arm sticking out here. We got a machine gun sticking out there. And as you can tell, I've got the Canopy glass on. But this is what I was talking about. The Canopy glass doesn't fit perfectly. Okay? It doesn't quite match the roundness of the fuselage a little bit. I've got a good maybe 2 millimeter gap at the top of the glass here that I need to press and glue it. So I have it just glued only on this very bottom edge, because if I made it match up here, then it didn't match on the bottom. So I chose to make it match on the bottom, and now I've got to press it in there and hold it while the glue dries. Yeah, but before I do that, I got to paint up my rotor blades. I got the little base part painted, but I got to paint this little center section here. So I'll change the camera, you can watch me paint. Here we are. So I'm just going to be painting this center part here. This needs to be painted up. Basically just this part in here. So I got that glued on there so we can actually spin. Yay! Woohoo! Spinning rotor blades, isn't that fun? That's part of what makes helicopter models so cool. Moving parts. Okay, so I just want to paint up this a little bit here, get that done so that it's ready later. Could I have waited? Sure, I could have. I don't want to though. I want to paint it now. Paint it now, get it done and out of the way. Because it's not going to take too long to paint this up. Now, could I spray it? I suppose I could. I don't want to. But just do details on here. That's all I'm doing. Pretty much it. I would like to get the actual assembly of this kit done today. I'm feeling like the light at the end of the tunnel is near. Because we're almost done for the assembly. At least that's what it feels like. It feels like it's mostly finished. I say mostly. It's all the little details and stuff like that. There's little fins and things like that that need to go on to the top and the bottom. We'll see. I'll show you as we get along. I'll show you as we get there. Do that one. This side. Now we'll do the bottom. Even though this part is really rarely going to be seen. No one really looks at the underside of a helicopter model kit. But for completeness, it should be done. Like I said, you do you. If you feel like, hey, I'm never going to see this part because it's going to sit on my shelf, or it's going to sit even better sitting in a cabinet, and you're never going to look at the underside of it, and you're never going to see it, well, and you can live with yourself knowing that you didn't paint the whole thing, then by all means, leave it. It's totally up to you. There we go. Okay, so that's done. Now I can happily put this away. And we can move on. The guns, actually I figured out, obviously because I installed one of the guns yesterday, I figured out how to actually install it, which was a bit of a challenge trying to assemble it. Shut up, airplanes. I just almost felt like Duke's models there for a moment. He's always telling his compressor to shut up. Okay, so we have this. Like I said, I've put that on there, so I think I'm going to have to see if you can tell. Maybe you can see on the camera. See that big gap right here? And that's what I was talking about. I need to press this up like this. If I get that in a right angle for you, that's got to be pressed in like that. See, I got to press that in and hold that there, just like that. Okay, and that's all right and fine. But by doing that, this side of the fuselage wants to tuck under, and I've got to actually pull it out to have it glued in, or just leave it. It's something that's not really noticeable. At a distance, it's not noticeable, right? That's actually underneath there. But yeah, so I need to figure out what do I want to do. Can I just tape that? If I grab some tape and just run it up there, I might be able to hold that. So let's see. Get a nice long strip of tape. Let's start kind of down here and see if I can pull it. And that's where I want it. See if the tape will hold it in that spot. Looks like it. But at the same time, it looks like I've got some my halves up here. Are you guys connected? Yeah, see the glue came apart on that. These two pieces do not like to stay together. I have glued these twice now, in trying to get them together and to stay in their home, and they don't want to stay. They just don't want to stay. And I want them to stay together, but now that I've got the glass on there, that proves to be a little bit more of a challenge. So I'm going to keep the glass like this. I think I'm just going to have to live with it like that. It's just a little too much. Now that they've come apart, okay, I've got to forget the glass, and I have to focus on these two, because by putting the, now that these have come apart, if I put the glass up there, it's not lining up anymore, and it was before. Actually, I think I can get it. You can see what I mean by this kit wanting me to learn patience. Patience is important, and okay, so I'm going to leave that like that, make sure my tape is sticking, and I'm going to put some glue on there. Put some glue on there. Both sides. The contour here does seem to fit very well. This side fits perfect. It's this other side that's tucked in that I'm going to have to pull out later. In the meantime, although I do see a little bit of a gap right here, I can see where the glass is not quite connecting to the fuselage. It's not a perfect thing. I mean, that's not a big deal, really. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it's what we kind of try for, right? Okay. So, we'll let that sit. I'm going to work on our gun. Actually, we have another piece of glass that's got to go in here. I've already put the one on this side here. That one's done. Okay, you can see the glass there. So I have the other one here. These are another ones. These are another piece that really tries your patience, because it doesn't quite, they haven't put any kind of a, there's no lip in here for the glass to actually sit on. And so, as you try to put the glass in, it just wants to fall through. See what I mean? Like, it just kind of falls through there. So you just got to kind of sit it where it's kind of happy. And even at that, we're not, I'm holding at this kind of angle so that the glass kind of sits. There we go. And we'll put a drop of glue on there and give it a second so I can actually manipulate it a little bit without the glass just falling through on me. It's not a perfect fit. It doesn't match the curvature perfectly either. I'll say it's close, but it's not perfect. Okay, let's put some glue on this side. And then glue on the corner. There we go. So there I've got the glass in on both sides. Again, it's not perfect fit, it's just the way it is. Okay. Now, I'd like to put this guy in at the top there, but now I've got my tape there holding my glass, and I'm going to leave that like that for a while. So let's focus on this gun and this stupid ammo belt that they want going underneath the gun, and then you have to put it underneath the gun and then bend it up around. I'll show you on the picture here. After you've got it going through, and they want you to bend it like this, well, I obviously did not bend mine. They want you to do this with it and turn it into a big S and have it curved. You see that there? Okay? We want you to bend it like this so that it actually goes underneath the gun, wraps around, and tucks in on the edge there. How do you do that with plastic? You have to heat it. And how do you heat it? Well, a couple of ways. You've seen me use the torch, and basically torch really does a fantastic job of ruining your plastic. Anyway, this guy here, this part mount, this part, see that? Okay, this little flat spot, that's got two tabs. Amazingly enough, there's tabs, and they go here and here, and then this piece, this guy here, his two tabs, and they mount at the back. And I found on this side that's the easiest way to do it. Okay, is I mount this first like this. If I can get in there, that's going to go in like this. Okay, but what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to heat up this ammo belt and get it to curve down. Maybe I won't have to heat it. Maybe I just need to bend it. I almost pull this whole thing right out of there. So I just broke my, I just dislodged the glue on there. I wonder if that, no, I can't. I just had a thought of maybe breaking it loose completely and pulling it out and then put the gun on, but if I put the gun on, I won't be able to get it back in. So what I really should do is get in there and glue that back down. And that tab there, and the one on this side. But our ammo belt, see, it's flexible enough. See that flex there? I can bend it, but it just goes back. So how do I cure that? Well, a little bit of heat. I'm not going to use my torch. My torch is just too powerful. So I'm just going to use good old Bic lighter. If I smoked, I would use a cigarette. I did manage to get some heat on it because now it's sticking out. I'm getting heat in spots I don't want because of wind. And it just broke it, but that's okay. Breaking it is not too big of a deal. I am almost ready to say screw it and not even have the ammo belt connecting, but it's better. I have it better now. So I'll do like I did on the other side. I'll glue this one down first. So some glue on here. And then if I can get in there, try this. There we go. Okay, now this one is basically the rear mount. Goes right there, and that little peg goes into the back of the gun, lining it all up. So now I can glue it to the back of the gun there. And there we go. So the gun is mounted. And then we have our third piece. That's a little pipe assembly. This one's fun because it's supposed to go on here. There is a hole in the bottom of this, which is now covered by my ammo belt. And it goes up there, and then it mounts to the bottom of this. And then that part I was trying to glue last time, this part here that I trimmed off, that goes to the back of the gun here. So you can see I've got it on this side. The ammo belt's kind of hiding it a little bit. But yeah, that's basically it. Except now, my belt is in the way. This belt needs to curve up. But now I need to let my gun dry. So this side I'm going to have to do in stages. And let this actually cure and be happy. So I'm going to have to let that sit. I think now my rack got unglued from the back too. So I need to redo that. And make sure it stays where it's supposed to. I don't want it coming apart on me. Okay, so that's that. So this will have to wait a little bit. So I'll put that aside. This I can't put on now because of my tape, but that's all right. I can try and figure out how to get my canopy to sit. See, now that it's in its place, this doesn't want to come out. I've got it sitting perfect. I can get some glue on there. Maybe it'll hold there. And just don't touch it. That's perfect. Okay, so let that sit, and we'll take a look at what a couple of other things we need to do. Okay, we've got some fins. Some fins that they actually want mounted on the clear glass. Now this is something that makes me wonder. This is where we're installing the glass, and they mention here to paint this black. Okay. Why did they mold it in clear if they want you to paint it black? That is something because now they want me to mount these fins right on top of it, right on top of that piece, and they want that black. Why paint it black? Why mold it in clear? Why make that a clear part if you're just going to make me paint it black and then put other things on top of it? That's just, I don't know. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. Anyway, so let's see. We got F11 and G23. Let's find those pieces. You know, I'm doing this. I forgot I had a coffee. Okay. F11 is this fin here. That's my nippers. So it's a pretty big one. And then G23. G seems to be our little fin tree. On 23, this thing is huge. Being very careful with this one. It's clearly some kind of radar piece. Now, here's another thing that boggles the mind. They've put a little pin on there. If I get that lined up there, you might be able to see it on the camera. There's a little pin sticking out there. And yet there's no hole in the part for the pin to go in. That is another thing that just, like, what's wrong with you guys in your molding process? You mold a pin into one part, but you don't put a hole in the other. And in fact, they don't mention anything about drilling holes into it or anything like that to make a provision for the peg to line it up. So if I'm putting this on, I'm gonna have to get rid of that peg, just like that. And this thing's huge. This is a lot bigger than what it looks like in the picture. In the picture, they would have you put them right there and there on the glass, right? Let me get that up there for you, okay? There and there on the glass, on this piece. But look down here on my table. Just even if I put them right beside each other, that length is like equal to the glass. Like, that's huge. Put that on there. I'm almost tempted to just say, hey, I'll put one on one side and one on the other. Or not quite line them up. You could put this one here. Which is, well, that's a possibility. Just put it there. Now, see, is this angled? No, it's just flat. It's flat. It doesn't look like there's any curve in it at all. But I want to make sure this will sit flat. Okay. Some glue. just a little bit. And we're going right here. It's the kind of thing where you don't want to move it around a bunch because you've put glue on it, and now that you've got glue on it, you don't want to move it because you're going to smear glue around. Now this guy's kind of interesting. It's a neat little guy to look at, but he's also very tall, so I don't want to have him up too high. You think, okay, that's going to interfere with the rotor. Putting him on, he doesn't line up as nicely as far as curvature goes at all. In fact, he's kind of straight and it doesn't match. I'm not going to put this guy on. This is just, he's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. I'm not putting him on. I don't care. It's a little detail like that, I don't care. Missing one fin, I wouldn't have known that whether it's supposed to have it or not. It really doesn't bother me that it's missing one fin. Okay? Now, moving on, we have going down to the bottom. Let's take a look at this guy, G16 and G30. They go on the front of the glass, down at the bottom, down here. G16 and G30. Let's take a look at those, okay? This is 16 here. And then 30 is this little rod. Which almost breaks taking it off the sprue. Almost breaks in half. So another thing that's been common with this kit is the fragility of the plastic. Okay, so this guy, let's flip him over like it's supposed to be. And this guy goes in that hole like that. Okay, I can live with that. Let's get him in his home, kind of lined up. See, again, it's not a positive. It's not tight and it doesn't fit super snug, and so you're kind of guessing the exact position it's supposed to be. Making sure, trying to get it lined up where it's going to sit and stay. Glue's going to help. There we go. Okay, so that's in. I know that's a little bit hard for you guys to see, but you can see it right there. It's like a little camera thing. Now for a little rod, this guy, who's kind of bent, but they show it bent. This guy looks like a fatter end, and that's the fatter end is supposed to go in the hole. Like that. And it's supposed to just rest on top of that little camera piece. Wow, that's a deep hole. I don't think it's supposed to go in that far. How deep is that hole? Way too deep. I believe it's just supposed to sit like that. That lined up, and then there you go. Okay, that's on there. We got a couple of more fins that are supposed to go on the bottom here. We got G25 and G22. These guys here are supposed to go in a couple of holes. They do show me here where I'm supposed to drill these holes. It'd be nice if they had these already done. You know, and it's funny how they look like they're lined up here, but then when you look here, they're totally different. 1 millimeter hole is supposed to be 1 millimeter off center for the front one, and then 7 millimeters off of that one, but 12.7 millimeters back. So this will be fun. Let's get my vise, pin vise, and I'll grab my pieces, G25 and 22. See how big these guys are. These two here, 22 and 25. So it's 22. And 25. Now again, this is all about drilling the holes and stuff like that. Don't really have to if you don't want to. That peg is so small, you don't really have to. That was 25, this is 22. Okay, so let's grab our ruler. We want 8 millimeters back from the glass, which is there. And we want 1 millimeter off, so I don't need to be precise. I know it's basically in between this line in the middle here, and we want 1 millimeter off center, so right about there. The trick is going to be holding on to this while I put a little bit of pressure on it to go through. If I'm not quite where I'm supposed to be, I don't care, because it's good enough. Now I didn't even go through. I'm going to do a little test and see how that fits, because the peg on the bottom of this isn't very deep, and if I've gone deep enough for that peg to sit and it sits flush, then I'm happy. And no, I gotta go deeper. As you may have guessed, I'm not pressing very hard at all, otherwise I would be right through already. But with all the everything being glued, and I'm pressing on the glass to give resistance, let's give another test here. I think I'm through deep enough now. that I can glue that on. But we gotta go 12 millimeters back. So 12 millimeters back happens to be roughly where my little nub mark used to be, where it was mounted. And we want 7 millimeters out. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. 5, 6, 7. About there. Okay. About here. Okay, let's see if this one fits here. Gotta go a little more. Oh, I've gone through. So what's that tell me? Because I went through and it didn't want to fit, that means my hole's not quite big enough, so I'll just do this with my knife. And of course, perfect. So this one, this front one, I want to make just a little bigger. And I'm guessing there's a bulkhead right there, and that's why this hasn't poked through for, like the other one did. Okay, we're good to go. Good to go on it. Okay, so take this guy first, give him some glue. That was a little too much glue, so I'll dab it off with my finger. And he goes right here. Go. And then we'll do the same with this one. A little excess on there, let's get rid of that. There we go. And you can see you got a little excess glue sticking out there. I'll just kind of wipe that away. There we go. So if I change the angle, you might actually be able to see, sort of see them underneath there. Okay. We got some funny fins and some little things sticking off of it now. Okay. So that's pretty much it for this page. I still want to leave the glass like that, even though it's been, what, 10 minutes or 15 minutes? I still just want to leave it. I don't want to play around with it. I don't want to risk taking it off until it's actually done. So, yeah. So let's flip the page and see what's next. Okay. So we've already dealt with this. We've got the rear engine exhaust on already. We've got more fins to want going on the top. We've got a little piece here. C4 is supposed to go on the top, but I can't. And looks like I might have to drill a hole for that one, because I don't recall seeing a hole back here, unless that's a hole under the tape. It's possible. A couple more fins on this side at the top, but don't. And again, they're supposed to go on the glass. There's that. Then we have our rotor blade, which we've already kind of done. I want to glue this section in first, but of course it's under the tape, and that's sitting right here. Okay, I want to glue that in first before I put the rotor blade on. I'll put the rotor blade on basically last thing I do. We do have E5 that I can put on top of the rotor blade assembly. Where's E5? Looks like we actually got two that look very similar, but they're not. So E5 is this guy here. Again, there's clearly, they've made this kit with the assumption of there's different variants, I guess. This particular piece is supposed to be black, and I'm putting it on top of that part I just painted gunmetal. So I don't want to have to repaint this. So I'm going to make sure this one looks nice with the way it sits. I want a little bit prettier. Even if it means taking off some paint now. I want that looking better. I want my nubs gone. Say goodbye to your nubs. Looks good. Looks good. Okay, so I'm going to put a little coat of paint on this guy. Grab this, that. I'll grab this thing there, and bingo. Okay, now hit that with a coat of paint. Mr. Servicer 1500, if you remember that, that's what I painted this thing in. Even though it's supposed to be just a primer, it works great as for this particular project. And there you go, fully black. Done. And I don't have to worry about that. I'll give that a couple of minutes to dry. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, let's see. Because that's basically it on this page. Which takes us to our final page, our final step, which are rocket launchers. So let's take a look at those. Let's put this guy over here, out of the way. Rocket launchers. And if you're Russian, they are rocket launchers. Let's see. Off of our F tree. Of course, we've got two F trees. 13, 14, 15, 16. There we go. Okay. Not sure if it matters since they've got no guide pins or pegs or anything like that. I guess what they've done is they've got this little edge here. See that there? You got an edge there, kind of like a little back wall on each side, and that's what holds that, keeps it nicely held in place. So I'd say that was one good thing they've done in this kit. I'm going to run a bead of glue along each side. And then we're going to pick a front and a back. Whoops, where are you going? He's trying to get away on me. Okay. Front and back, this is where I want this to be nice. Some kits, these would be more of an insert. On this kit, these actually sit outside of the tube, so I don't think it makes much of a difference, other than you want this to be a nice flat surface. I am going to have to repaint these. Looks like, I don't know if that's an imperfection in the mold or if that's supposed to be there, if these are, no, I think that's an imperfection in our mold that I need to cut away. So I don't think it'll go in there if I leave that alone. Let's test fit. Fits pretty much perfect. Front and rear, I don't think it, well, it might matter. See, we have our mounting holes, and how it mounts is going to make a difference whether it's the front or the rear. So let's see. They don't reference it at all in our assembly diagram, which end this is supposed to be at. So because you can put either end on, either that one or that one, either end. They both, either one goes on. It looks like we have a longer distance between this hole and the end compared to this hole and this end. Let's take a look here. Let's actually grab my ruler and see if I'm right about that. Let's go millimeters. Okay, so we've got 11.5 millimeters to that. Let's call it 12 actually, 12 millimeters. Okay. And then this is more like 18. So I'm right, they are further forward, and it looks like they want it further forward, or basically sitting, if this is middle, if the ruler is the middle, they want it sitting back a little bit like that, and not dead center. So the two little holes that are in the top right there where I'm pointing with the ruler, those go towards the front, which means this guy is the front. And it's going to go like that. Sometimes it's just process of elimination. And this one goes on the back. Get on there. Okay. One rocket pod done. And we gotta make the other one. Grabbing it off of our other F tree. Exact same pieces. Now, you may have noticed I haven't cleaned up these parts at all, and there's a reason for that. The reason being, I'm going to clean it up later. Once it's all glued and the glue is dried, I'll take some sandpaper and I'm going to try and get rid of try and eliminate the seam line and make this really look like a tube and not just two halves put together. Once again, we're going to go, we know that our two little holes, which you can't see, if I don't even think I can get it, sort of kind of, you could see them in the camera right there where my finger is pointing. Those go towards the front. This one it didn't take off very good. These ones I do want to, because I took it off, they're kind of gnarly like, so I need to clean it up first. It's better. Alright, this one towards the front, let's confirm our front, there it is. There's our front. Glue. Make sure it's lined up all the way around. There we go. There's the front done. This rear one, come on, get in there. Get in your home. There we go. Lined up. Glue in place. Done. There we go. Second rocket pod done. So like I said, I want to kind of sand these down a little bit and clean them up and kind of give the illusion that it's a tube. And then these are going to go in right here. We're going to line them up as best we can right there like that, and that's how it's going to go. Okay. We're going to have our two rocket pods mounted like that. Just like that. But that'll be next time. Because we're almost finished the assembly. That's basically it. I just got some cleanup to do. It's really just the little details that are left now. Right? Gotta clean up those rocket pods and make sure they look like tubes and not couple of halves of plastic put together. And yeah, this is now dry. I can install this onto our rotor blade, and then I can call that assembly finished. That just goes right on top here. There's nothing to align it except the center button. It goes like that. And that's it. So before I go, I'll just put that on. But this is basically it for today, guys. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming out. Down below in the description box, you're going to see some links. Those links are for my Twitch account, where you could follow me on Twitch and watch me live, and you can talk to me while I'm doing this if you feel like it. And you'll see links to my Instagram, And on my Instagram, you're going to find pictures of everything that I've built in the past. Because every time I finish a project like this, I take a few pictures of it and I upload it to my Instagram. You can also message me on Instagram if you feel like, if you want to text me there or something like that. And then the only thing I ask is that you hit the like button and you subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you like this stuff, or if you've got some criticism, anything like that. Yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. So once again, thank you for watching. Thanks for coming out. And yeah, we're going to finish this up next time, I think. The finish line is very close. So we'll finish it up next time. And until then, well, we'll see you around.